Hello, good morning, and happy Labor Day weekend to everyone who is watching now and who may be watching later. So Labor Day weekend, historically for us here in the United States of America anyway, is our big goodbye to summer, which for some people, that's a big deal. I don't mind saying goodbye to summer as much as I'm going to miss the warm weather. And I guess to everything there's a season. I think I read that somewhere once. But anyhow, it's a big weekend. All the lakes, I'm sure right now, are packed full of summer campers and people enjoying the water for one last hurrah. I'd be willing to bet that the riverbanks are full as well. And pretty much any open campsite is going to be tree-to-tree people. And that is a little bit all right. We do like our recreation out here in northern Nevada. A lot of people live in this Spanish Springs area for that reason alone, because right outside your front door is Mother Nature, and you can get on your motorcycle and there you go. You're off into the wilderness. We see it all the time at our house. People are always driving up and down our road on their side-by-sides and dirt bikes, and that's a good thing because I'm not far behind them on the quads. So what a great place to live and what a great time to be alive, despite the fact that we are still under the thumb of COVID-19 and everything else that is going nutty in our world right now. And I think that as we're 5 months into this, with no end in sight, I think that a lot of us, me included, are having some real legitimate struggles with this stuff. And that's just part of being human, I suppose. At the end of the day, we still got to do what the Bible calls us to do. And that is basically abide by the law. So keep that in mind as frustrations mount, that we have a biblical mandate to be who God calls us to be and not how we feel like we need to be in the face of some tough times. And I don't know when it's going to end. If I knew when it was going to end, I'd write a book and make $1 million, but I have no idea. I do know that as followers of Christ, our mission remains that we are to share the gospel to any and all people. And that's what we have got to focus on doing in our daily lives and in our church life. And so as we are beginning to creep out of summer into fall and then winter, we have a lot of things as a church that we'll be needing to decide over the next few months. So keep your eyes open for different meetings and conversations regarding these issues. And if I'm being honest, I'm actually really looking forward to this coming year. Church can get kind of stagnant because it can be the same old. And in this coming year, it is not going to be that at all. There's been a huge shift in our culture, not only with how we're living our lives, but how we're spending our money. And all this affects how a little church like ours operates. And I don't think it necessarily affects us in a negative way either. I think that the power of God far outweighs anything that can come at us because of some silly restrictions set by our governments. And so those are some things that we have to look forward to as we move forward. And as for right now, we have a few things to look forward to around here. We are still working to support Spanish Springs Elementary as we help them raise funds so that kids can pay the insurance fee. Every kid needs a computer, some sort of device, and they have those available, but kids are required to pay a $25 insurance fee for those machines. Not all families have that right now. And so, of course, we have stepped in and said, yeah, we'll help. So we are continuing to collect money for that. And on the 27th, the Bloodmobile will be here in our parking lot. And we will have link information for you tomorrow about how to sign up to be part of that, to give blood. And they'll also be doing an antibody check to see if you've had COVID. They don't tell you like right then. It takes a couple days. But so at some point, eventually, you'll get to know if you had it or not. A lot of people are realizing that they probably had it earlier in the year. And if you guys think back to December, January, February, there was a lot of people out that were really, really sick. And it could very well be that they had that, or maybe they just had the flu. Who knows? The point is they made it, and so that's good. So what else do we have on our agenda in the coming weeks? Well, tomorrow we have church. And one of the things that we're going to start doing is we're really pushing hard for small groups because we cannot meet how we used to meet. And so I believe small groups are going to be essential to our personal growth and to church growth. And part of our process in making that easier for everyone is sometimes people don't want to host or lead a small group because they don't feel qualified. And that's an understandable concern. And let me say that you don't need to be a theologian to host or facilitate a small group. You just need to be willing and teachable. But one of the things we're going to start doing is we're going to be putting out weekly videos that are basically going to be a short 5 to 10 minute synopsis of the message that can be played before a small group if you want to. You don't have to play it, but just know that it will be a resource that will be available. And I think that a lot of folks will find that pretty helpful. Although if I happen to go to your small group, I would be happy to do the synopsis live and in person. Totally up to you. So, this time of year, it's not uncommon that we find in our kitchen on our counter boxes and boxes of tomatoes because everybody's fruit is getting ready to be picked, right? It's that time of year when the tomatoes are ripening more and more each day. We got fruit trees dropping their fruit, and we've got all this really good stuff going on. And that got me thinking about fruit trees. Fruit trees. When we lived in Sparks, we used to live on this house on Meadowvale. And it was a really great old house. And in the backyard there was these 2 apple trees. But no matter how much we watered these trees, no matter how well we took care of them, the apples never really got any good. They always tasted terrible. But these trees produced, I would be willing to bet, thousands of apples. So many apples that we paid our kids. They were little back then. We would give them a nickel an apple, and they would pick up apples for 30 minutes. 4 kids going at it for 30 minutes, and it looked like they didn't touch them. That's a lot of apples. And so we had to sit down and figure out, so listen, are these trees worth it? We water them, we pick up after them, we cut them back, and do they really provide that much shade for us to continue to dump these resources into them? Because they're not producing fruit. The fruit's terrible. We could never figure out why these trees wouldn't produce good fruit. And there was the same kind of apple trees in the neighborhood all over the place. Old Sparks is full of apple trees. And a lot of those trees were making great apples, just not our trees. And so these trees were more of a burden than they were anything else. So much so that we really started to hate it, because come this time of year, late summer, early fall, our yard was just full of all these little rotting apples everywhere. And if you didn't pick them up every day, it just was not a good thing. Dead apples draw flies, and nobody likes flies. I don't care who you are. Nobody likes flies. They're a pain. Jesus spoke a lot about fruit trees. And in John 15, there is the very famous, "I am the vine and you are the branches" scripture. What Jesus says to his disciples. And I'm gonna read a verse today from that particular passage. And this is John 15, verses 5 through 8. And it says this: "I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples." Jesus actually says a lot there. And what I learned from that is that apparently my apple trees did not believe in Jesus. That's it. I just solved my apple tree problem. So what Jesus is talking about here, when he talks about fruit, he's not suggesting that as we follow Christ, we learn how to grow apples out of our fingertips. There are a few ways to look at fruit. Fruit is basically anything that we produce. And so as a follower of Christ, our fruit should be a few things. One of those fruits should be new believers, new disciples. And then also in the Bible, we read about the fruits of the Spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. All of these things are good fruits. And when we exhibit these fruits, it brings glory to Jesus. And there is no better time to exhibit the fruits of the Spirit than now, as everything around us is going crazy and our country is continuing to divide more and more each day. What better time to lead people to true peace? What better time to bear this fruit that glorifies God? Believe me when I tell you, people are starving for hope. People, I think, are moving from fear to anger. And that is not a good place to be. People shouldn't be so angry all the time. It makes you old quick. But when there's no respite, when there's no peace, I can understand. I don't think I could go through this if I couldn't look back to the cross and be reminded that we have a bigger purpose, and this is just a thing. Even if this lasts for the rest of my life, it is still only temporary. And I would encourage you guys to pray for each other, spend time with each other. Listen, we cannot underplay the importance of our faith in our lives right now. That could be the biggest mistake we make. Just because the church has been regulated and we can only have so many people in here at a time, it does not mean that we give up and just throw in the towel. It means that we get creative and we learn how to spend time with each other in other ways. And so coming soon, one of the ways we're going to help do that is for people who are not, maybe if you are comfortable coming to church, that's fine too. But we want to start these watch parties, these small group watch parties, where maybe there's 3 to 5 people meeting at somebody's house or in a park or something. And you basically tune into the service on your device. And we're still together even though we're apart. And, it sure beats this continued separation. And I don't exactly know how that's going to work yet. So if you have some ideas, let me know. That would be great. And so with all that said, tomorrow we'll be meeting right here at 9 a.m. at 10:30 p.m. And I will be teaching once again. It's been a week or so since I've been able to do that. We had Phil out here last week, and that was a good time. And so I hope to see you tomorrow at 9 or at 10:30. And you know the drill by now. If you have any needs or if you have any questions or you just want to say hi and you don't have my info, you can send me an email and I will get you my info. Would love to have a conversation. I've been lucky enough that over the past couple weeks I've been able to meet with people we haven't seen at church in a while, and it's really good to catch up and check in and see how everyone's doing. And if I haven't seen you since March or April, and I reach out to you, please answer your phone. That would be great. Or you can reach out to me. That would be just as great. Know that we have a lot of people that call our church home, and it's hard for me to reach out to every single person. So feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to sit down with you and have a conversation, whether it be in person or digital. I hope that you have a great day. If you're out having fun this Labor Day weekend, be safe, all right? Use your head. I want to see you back here on One Piece at some point. But have a good time, and I will see you later. I know what you're thinking. Where does he find this music? I'll tell you later.